Notre Dame is number one.
Notre Dame with a miracle win as the
He's going in. Notre Dame has scored.
We just wrapped up our week of practice and preparation, and obviously being midwinter break, our guys were able to take full advantage of the opportunity to really focus on football. It was kind of like for us a camp week, and our guys were in the training room taking care of any bumps and bruises they had from a physical game the week before. Got a lot of film study and preparation. Have no excuses going into this weekend about our preparation. Feel good about the way the guys competed and practiced as well.
Oh.
What was it, basketball practice running late? So I have no concerns about the way we prepared, and feel really good about the way the guys took care of themselves this week, leading into which is going to be another very physical football game, and we know that each and every week. So with that, I'll open up the questions.
All right, some of the defensive players were saying yesterday recovery from last Saturday's game was a little bit longer than normal. How concerned are you with that? What have you done to deal with that?
I think a couple of the guys were sore on Monday and Tuesday, but as I mentioned, I think I think it's more of a accumulating effect, and that's why it was good to have this week where our guys could get into the training room. And I talked to Rob Hahn. He feels really good about the health of the team. We had guys doing some things in there that normally would probably not go in the training room because they're in class or whatever the case may be. So we feel really good. We were able to play fast, play physical. We went with a 10-minute, 2-minute drill, which we usually only go 5 minutes. So we're in good health.
Edward was full go the last couple of days. Everything's good with him.
He's getting better. I won't make a decision on the quarterback till game time. I've prepared all three of the quarterbacks. He's made progress, but we still, we monitor it every single day, and these aren't decisions that we just make without, giving him an opportunity to be evaluated each day. So, again, picked up his play from yesterday, got better, and then we'll see tomorrow. We're going to have another workout, and then we'll make a decision on Saturday.
What goes into the decision? I mean, is this injury-based, or does this go beyond the concussion?
Well, I just, I think, when he missed some time, we wanted to bring him in gradually. He did a pretty good job Wednesday. Wasn't all the reps because I had two other guys that I have to get reps. So we're going to use Friday to kind of clean up some red zone stuff, and then I'll be in a better position, to look at who the starter will be.
Are you still considering him the guy for the future?
Yeah, this has nothing to do with, we're monitoring his health. This is about health and safety. This isn't about who the starting quarterback is.
I know you love stats, but I think this one might be relevant. You have 60 more tackles for loss than your opponents combined, a lot more tackles for loss than solos. Does that speak to the defense's aggressiveness and team play?
Well, primarily, we're not a blitzing team. We're not a team that's taking, shots off the corner or, overloading. So I think it really speaks to the way we play defense, and that it's a no-crease defense. Our inside backers are filling hard, and our defensive line. So it's an accomplishment for our entire front seven.
And Lewis, when he came out that play, looked like he took a shot to the collarbone.
Bruised his shoulder. Okay. It's an injury that he had earlier in the season, where he had a similar bang, but it's not anything that we feel structurally, and he practiced well. So if Lewis practiced well, we don't get into much more detail. He did a nice job.
Brian, we kind of follow up on his question about the defense. Coach Diaco talked about that early in the year you wanted to protect the secondary. You didn't want to expose them at all, and then they really seem to have gotten better. Are you at the point where you still feel like you need to protect them, or can you do some different things up front if you want to?
I think by nature and the way our defense is designed, it's always been about being able to control the line of scrimmage with a fair number of defenders. In other words, if they've got 7, we've got 7. If they've got 6, we've got 6, which allows us to play a lot of double zone. So philosophically, it's always been about playing double zone, which allows you to obviously get those corners some help. And we fundamentally, myself and Bob, fundamentally play our defense with a 2-deep structure for that reason.
Brian, do you expect Goodman to go this week?
Yes, we do. He was okay on Wednesday. He couldn't lower his hips until later in the practice where he got really loose, and then today he looked good. He played in our 2-minute drill, got some first-team reps, looked much better. I think he's going to be a full go.
Everybody else good health-wise?
Yeah, I'm just trying to go through the list of guys that we had. Nobody on the defensive side of the ball other than Lewis, who had the bruise on his shoulder. Tyler had a little bit of a gash on his arm, but that's cleaned up. Other than that, we're in pretty good shape.
And then I'm trying to think, is this the first home game where you haven't been in the stadium on Thursday?
I think it is. Are you setting something up for that? Is there? That's right. Oh my God, I broke my routine. Is that? Yeah. We won't be in there obviously tomorrow. I think they're calling for some rain, so I think we'll be fine.
Coach, with that said, you've been a proponent for field turf. Does weather conditions like last Saturday and probably this Saturday kind of play into you wanting field turf here? No?
I think that's on the list, but it wouldn't be the primary reason for field turf. I just like using the stadium as a practice opportunity as well. And when you have grass, regardless of where you are geographically, it makes it more difficult to go in that stadium. And so I like to be in the venue that we play. That's one reason for it. It allows you to do some things in spring when the weather isn't quite as good to get into that stadium as well. So I think it's more about getting more use out of the stadium than it is simply about the weather.
And how do you feel like this field is holding up? I mean, you could see like guys stomping it down.
Yeah, well, I thought our grounds crew did a very nice job, and for the Stanford game, they got out there and really were diligent in making sure that the field was playable, and it was. We've top dressed it aggressively this week. It'll be covered. Tonight it was, they did some work on it today and let the wind and some of the sun get to it. We'll cover it and keep it covered until game time. There will be no walkthroughs for either team at the stadium site, just to preserve the field.
On the first fumble last week, you said it was a confluence of a number of factors, including center.
Okay, what are we talking? Are we talking about the direct snap fumble
with Everett and Riddick there early on?
Yes. Do you want me to get into specifics on this?
Well, one of the things it seemed with both Tommy and Everett, they both had to make a lot of great catches, it seemed, on some center snaps. How much does that affect, like, the rhythm of a handoff or a running game?
It affects it. You saw it. We're running outside zone left on the play, okay? The snap was to the right. The back is coming across the bow, if you will. All those things are going on at the same time. Add to the fact that you have a right-handed center who's stepping to his left. I mean, I could go on and on. I think I alluded to it at the press conference. There's so many technical things that we have to work on the field. For example, every Thursday, the centers and quarterbacks come together in shotgun. The centers only go left. They move to the left because when you're right-handed center, obviously when you move this way, you have a tendency to leave the ball behind you. So we work on all those things, and that's something that shouldn't happen.
The main cleanup phases this week?
Yeah, I mean, I think, we had a fumble on the ground from direct snap, too. So you can understand my frustration. It's something that we work on every single day, and we have to be, we can't have those mistakes. Those are unacceptable.
Right. If Everett doesn't go, is Tommy the starter, or is that game time decision?
Game time decision. Andrew had a good week, so they're all at that level where I can consider them. But I want to see Everett for 48 hours. I want to go all the way up there. There's no, I don't think there's a cookie cutter approach to concussions. You want to see how they handle exertion. You want to see how they handle all the things leading up in film study and watching and then getting back on the field. So I want to take the 48 hours that I have before I make that decision.
Brad, we spent some time with Manti again yesterday, and as always, he knows the right thing to say, and you know, one game at a time, and he has it all down. How important is that for you to have a guy that echoes the words that you and your coaching staff are trying to say to the team?
Well, you know, I think you don't want a parrot, you know. You don't want a guy who just, you know, says what you ask him to say. You know, he's got to feel it too. He's been here 3 years with us. So he's a great spokesman because he not only can articulate the message, but he believes in the message. And so whether it's Manti Te'o or, you know, over my 22 years, I've had guys that are able to do that. Sometimes it takes a little while to really, to really understand the message, and he understands it quite well.
He doesn't parrot it. I mean, you know.
No, and that's what I'm saying. He doesn't, and I know that's why you asked the question,
Right.
because he actually means it. But that sometimes takes some time.
Not to introduce a fourth quarterback into the mix, but just curious what Gunner's fall has been like. What have you seen out of him the times that you have? And what do you think he's getting out of watching Everett and what he's going through?
I think he's getting a lot. He's in all of our staff meetings, all of our position meetings. He's not in our staff meetings. He's in all of our position meetings. That would really elevate his status. He's in our position meetings, and we travel him to all of our games. So I want him to feel the travel and the preparation necessary. So we're doing all those things with him. He's been on our scout team, but we bring him down for some of our one-on-one and 7-on-7, and we've arranged it with our defense so that they're not running team time at the same time. And I think it's really worked well. I've kind of tweaked the schedule a little bit to make sure that I can get him some one-on-one work as well. He's made good progress. He's had a little bit of tendonitis this week that he's fought through. He didn't throw as much this week, but just normal, because he's been ripping it over there on scout team. He's been throwing a lot, so we kind of cooled him down a little bit this week.
Tendonitis in the shoulder or something?
Just elbow, little.
Elbow.
It's just my point being, he's been throwing a lot. He's been getting a ton of reps, and we kind of just backed off a little bit on him.
Great.
Great, thanks.